So before working with Sleep Science Academy, I wasn't like actively trying to solve for my insomnia. So I just kind of adjusted my life around it. So I have sleeping medication. I would sleep in or cancel stuff if I didn't get a good night's sleep. And that's kind of how I coped for um, over 2 years because I thought that there wasn't really a solution out there, that I just kind of had to deal with it. And I would always have trouble sleeping, that I was always going to be a bad sleeper, and it really wasn't going to change. Before working with Sleep Science Academy, I would say my main problem was waking up in the middle of the night. And so sometimes I would be awake for like, 20 minutes and then fall back asleep. But other times I'd be awake for 2 hours and then fall back asleep. Or maybe I wouldn't fall back asleep at all. So it was like middle of the night waking. That was my main issue. That was kind of, and when that happened, then that would kind of bleed into the rest of my day. So after going through this program, my sleep is like completely different, which is kind of crazy. So I regularly get like 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, which is really awesome. And I'm also like sleeping through my husband's alarm. So he's an early riser. He likes to get up around 4:30. We used to have fights about it because I'd be like, "You're waking me up." But now I'm not even hearing his alarm. So it's not just the quantity of my sleep that's improved, but I'm also able to get really deep restorative sleep and feel energized the next day. Well, to be perfectly honest, I started sleeping better from the webinar that you guys had put out like a week before I started. So I already saw improvements just from applying a couple of the tips that you mentioned. But then as I went through the program, I would say that my journey was kind of like up and down a little bit. And I started off getting some really good sleep. And then I kind of hit this wall where I was having some really bad nights. But I learned how to like deal with that and manage that. So I was no longer so anxious about sleep. And once I was able to do that and kind of let go of the need to control things or worry so much about sleep, then I was really able to get into this pattern that I'm in now where, it's pretty much every night I fall asleep in under like 10 minutes and I wake up, and I hardly ever wake up in the middle of the night. If I do, sometimes I don't even remember it. I'm sleeping through my husband's alarm. So I think it took me maybe around week 5 or 6 is when I really started to like get into the good rhythm that I'm in right now with sleep. Well, I think it's just given me a lot more confidence in myself and my abilities to tackle hard things and like solve my own problems, so to speak. I mean, obviously with the program and all the knowledge and the coaching, that was a huge piece of me being able to figure this out. But it's really like reassuring to go through something like that. And even though it was hard for me, I still came out on the other side and I still got the results that I wanted. And then I think in terms of my day to day, like I don't really have to worry about, well, what if I don't get a good night's sleep tonight? And then my whole day is going to be like adjusted. So I don't like spend so much time thinking about sleep in that sense. So I feel like my mental capacity now, I can use it to focus more on the things that I really care about, like, my business or my family or my friends or my hobbies, rather than hyper focusing on sleep. I would say this program is designed for anybody who has difficulty sleeping, who would define themselves as an insomniac, and who's willing to find a solution, and who's willing to, who's open to the idea that just because, their sleep has been not good or not ideal for however long doesn't mean that that's how it always has to be. The advice that I would give to like someone else or even myself going through this program is that it really does work. There might be some hard days, but that doesn't mean that you're not making progress and that you won't see the results. It's experiencing maybe some difficult moments and learning how to be at peace with those is the thing that's going to like really help you to get some deep restorative sleep and kind of break that cycle, you know, that someone or you might be in where you don't sleep very well and then you get anxious about not sleeping well, and it kind of compounds things for you. And then I would say you just want to keep believing in yourself that you can do it, that you can get a good night's sleep, that your brain and your body know how to sleep, and you're just retraining yourself to do something that comes naturally. My experience, like working with the program and using the technology, I would say overall it was really positive. I felt like I had a lot of support to kind of work through like times where I was feeling stuck. The program itself has, you know, like tons of knowledge and tips and tools and information. So there's really like more than I could ever need. It's like everything I need and then some was available to me within the training materials. And then I loved using the ring itself to help kind of quantify what was happening with my sleep, because that actually helped me see that I was getting more sleep than I thought I was, that my sleep was pretty like, yes, I had some rough nights sometimes, but overall it was pretty normal. And that it was very encouraging to kind of see the data and recognize actually that a lot of the issues that I was struggling with were really mental barriers and misperceptions that I had about my sleep and how I was sleeping through the night. I feel like I know a lot of people, for example, in my life who struggle with insomnia. And I think that people feel very resigned to the fact that this is a problem that can't be solved. I just have to take medication to help me deal with it. And we know like the medicinal solutions are not that great. And sometimes over time they become way less effective. So for people who want to like change this to feel better, I would want them to know that this program really does work. Like the techniques and the approaches and the mindset coaching and all of these things really can help, and you don't need to resign yourself to, you know, not being able to sleep well for the rest of your life.